Greetings and welcome to Favored Praise, a platform where we hand you over the scepter of leadership and we get to ask different questions on policies. Why were they enacted? Are they having the impact that they were intended to make? Are they benefiting the people that they were intended to benefit? Are they even being implemented the way they should? And how do people feel about those policies? What is their relevance to our community and current settings? Well, these are the different kinds of questions that we get to ask here. And if you are new on the platform, we welcome you to our inner court and we hand you over the scepter of leadership so that you join us in asking those questions and we get to awaken a different generation that is more involved with their governance systems and also with their policymakers. Well, today we're going to a place that is known by most as the UK, which is the United Kingdom. And within the United Kingdom, we know there are many facets in that, but we want to particularly look at Britain. And, with a lot of people, they just know Britain as the land of Queen Elizabeth. Now we have King Charles, and it's a land that has a rich history, which a lot of people learnt about anyway. I assume this is an assumption that I'm just making. But talking of history, there is one thing that most people that go to the Britain will tell you is, their pub culture, how their pubs at local levels, pubs in urban areas and even in rural areas, and how those pubs carry so much cultural heritage and also so much for communities, as they are a place where people meet and socialize and get to rewind, and also really just get to drink beer. So, well, I know I say pubs, but then pubs is short for public house, and this is what we want to talk about today. Pubs. We want to talk about because there is a policy that was released in 2020. Well, it was a policy on housing, and it was different legislators that were trying to combat the effect of COVID-19, be it on businesses and housing developers and everything, economic level. And COVID, when it came, it disrupted everyone. But then within that policy, there is a section where it affirmed the National Planning Policy Framework, which talked of the National Planning Policy Framework, which talked on protecting pubs as community heritages and pubs as, like community jewels, something of uttermost importance in a community setup. And what we want to talk about today is that policy, what it was meant to do is that it was meant to give power to local authorities and communities to make sure that they safeguard pubs and ensure that they are not changed or further developed into maybe houses or other places, because there has been like a huge trend on that, pubs being developed into different spaces or maybe into housing or stores or something like that. So this policy meant to reaffirm that. And today we want to talk about it, to actually ask the different questions on it, because when we talk about pubs, we're talking about a place that people, everyone in the local community should be proud of, a place that is the heart of the community, because that's where many people come and they converge and they socialize. It's like forms a social fabric in that community. And then if we are saying that they are being protected from being developed into something that does not serve the community? Is that also serving the community? Are we really sure that we are serving the needs of the community, or we are, well, I just wanted to say something, but let me just refrain from it. But my question really here is, does serving the pubs protect the community? And who is this community that we're talking about? Especially when we look at pubs today, or maybe the current generations, I'll talk about the millennials and the Gen Zs. You know, this generation has shifted so much, and it has really changed so much from the previous generation, such that you find people would rather be on their phones than go out and socialize with other people. And you'll find out that some people might prefer to just go and buy beer from the shops and go and drink at home while they're just watching whatever that they're watching. But then, does it mean that also when we say this policy goes way too far, does it also mean that we are abandoning culture to make money? Because when we say pubs are being redeveloped into something else, this is a business transaction. This is now a business narrative to say, well, maybe for business sake, we want more money, or maybe the pubs are not giving us more money, so we want more money for this, and that's why we want to redevelop this maybe into a house or into whatever that we may want to develop it to be. So are we saying that we are sacrificing our local heritage for business? But in the same sense, are we saying that because if we're preserving pubs for local heritage and cultural heritage, within those months I've learned that culture changes, and because of the people. So do we mean that the next generation, does it see the need of pubs? Well, I say need in the sense that, need is something that you really can't do without. So please pardon me and my English, but that's why we're talking of need in that sense. Because we have to understand that in as much as pubs play a big role in, like physical, social interaction, and also they bring economic growth. I'm not disputing that. They bring important economic growth by providing jobs, and also paying taxes to the government, and also supporting local brewers, so that they also get to sell their beer in that club, in that pub. But then our most focus is on the market, and it seems like the market for pubs is slowly dwindling away. Like it's becoming narrower and narrower. And mostly we can maybe say it's because of the generational shift. And then if that is the reason, maybe to say the market is dwindling away, who then are we protecting them for? I think that's another question that we have to ask ourselves. Are we protecting them because this is our cultural heritage and this is what we have always known and we want to preserve what was? Or maybe are we protecting them because they're still speaking to our current needs, or maybe still speaking to what we want as a people, what we envision for ourselves as a people in terms of a physical socialization? Well, I think these are the questions that we need to start asking ourselves, because hypothetically speaking, let's imagine a world without, maybe not a world, a community without these pubs, well, I had to give you a moment there so that you create that imagination. And also I had to take to myself and imagine that. And for me, that will be a world where some people won't have access to meet others socially, because you understand that sometimes it's easier to meet at a pub than to go to someone's house. It's easier to watch football together at a pub than, you know, any other option that you might have. So for me, what I'm thinking is this is like a community that might be, I'm not saying is, because is like this is the final word, no, but then I feel like this will be a community that has its, you know, cultural heritage disrupted, because like we said, pubs carry very rich in culture and also a part of our history. But then if we say that we don't have them, then it means that whatever socialization that we have now, we have shifted from community to privatization, which is now privatized socialization. And is that sustainable? Is that something that talks to our future, about our history, about our heritage, about our culture, about where we have been, who we are as a community? Well, these are the different questions that we need to ask ourselves, and we keep asking those questions because we want to know and understand that all these policies, are they saving us? And us is everyone. Us is the millennial, pre-millennial, post-millennial. Us is everyone. Are the pubs saving? Are the policies saving us? So is this policy serving us? And I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this, and these are part of the things that we want you to talk about. These are the opinions that we want to hear, and these are the opinions that I know will take us forward and will make us understand that all our efforts in making sure that we understand our culture, the next generation understands our culture, and they preserve it. And talking about preservation, I'm just reminded, if this policy is solemnly on preservation, what then has happened to privatization? I think that's a very good question there, and we'll just stop it here today, and we'll just allow you to ask more questions. If you please have any other questions, please do ask. We're here for you, and we're here to take them up and bring them to whoever might want to listen and take them forward. Thank you very much for joining us, and let's be reminded that we are the people that the policies serve. Hence, we must be very active in following up on our policies, following up on their implementation, and asking the different questions, so that whenever we wake up, we're sure that everything is being done for the good of those that it should benefit. Thank you very much.